Burden of proof, quantum of evidence, and presumption. So, first is burden of proof and burden of evidence. So, when we say burden of proof, a lot of case law has defined this burden of proof as yung duty to establish the truth of a given proposition or issue by such quantum of evidence as the law demands in the case at which the issue arises. So, yung burden of proof or yung onus probandi, nagre-refer yan sa obligation ng isang party sa isang litigation na ikumbinsihin yung court na entitled siya sa isang relief. Okay? So, para makumbinsi mo yung court, dapat patunayan mo kung ano yung ina-allege mo, ano yung binibintang mo. Okay? It is a well settled na kung sino yung nagbibintang, kung sino yung nag-a-allege ng isang fact, siya yung may burden of proof na patunayan na totoo yung ina-allege niya. Okay? So, yung term na burden of proof is defined sa Section 1 ng Rule 131 ng ating Rules of Court. Okay? So, Section 1, burden of proof and burden of evidence. So, burden of proof, ito yung duty of a party to present evidence on the facts in issue necessary to establish his or her claim or defense by the amount of evidence required by law. Okay, so based dito sa definition na to, hindi tama na i-state natin yung burden of proof rests solely doon lamang sa plaintiff. Okay, hindi yon, hindi lamang sa plaintiff yung burden of proof. Okay, yung burden of proof under the clear terms ng Section 1 na to, ito yung duty ng isang party. Okay, hindi plaintiff, party to present evidence not only to establish a claim but also defense. Okay? It will be observed that the rule does not define burden of proof as duty ng plaintiff but as duty ng isang party. Nakalagay dyan. For instance, sa isang action for damages based sa, let's say, quasi-delict under Article 2176 ng Civil Code, si plaintiff, meron siyang burden na patunayan yung fault or negligence ng isang defendant. Yan yung act na itong defendant was the proximate cause ng injury na nasustain ni plaintiff. Okay? On the other hand, si defendant naman, meron siyang burden to prove his defense kapag kinlaim niya na yung injuries of the plaintiff was caused ng hindi naman daw wrongful conduct by third person yung naka-injure sa kanya. So, dapat patunayan yun ni defendant. Okay? Sa criminal case, basically, di ba, si prosecutor yung merong burden of proof, proving the guilt beyond reasonable doubt ng isang akusado. However, kapag si defendant nag-raise siya ng defense, like, let's say, justifying self-defense daw, kaya niya napatay si B. So, si defendant, nasa kanya yung burden of proving na existent talaga yung self-defense. Okay? So, yung concept of burden of proof may be capsulized by a very familiar refrain in jurisprudence that kung sino yung nag-a-allege ng fact has the burden of proving it. Yung mere allegation, hindi yan evidence. Okay, hence, yung person na nag-a-allege ng payment has the burden of proving na yung payment na yun has indeed been made. Okay? If si plaintiff, for example, in-allege niya na itong si defendant may utang sa kanya na pera, so si plaintiff, meron siyang burden na patunayan yung debt na yun. Okay? So, as aptly described by the court, yung burden of proof, ito yung duty ng isang party na mag-present na evidence on the facts in issue necessary to establish his claim or defense by the amount or evidence required by law. Evidence required by law, let's say, pag criminal case yan, syempre proof beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? Pag civil lang yan, preponderance of evidence lang ang kailangan. Next, jurisprudential pronouncement on burden of proof. So, sa drug cases, the state bears the burden of proving yung elements ng illegal sale of dangerous drugs in violation ng RA 9165 and yung illegal possession sa Section 11. Okay? So, si state yung may burden dyan. Sa civil cases naman, ang basic rule natin na yung party na merong allegations, meron siyang burden of proving them by preponderance of evidence. Okay? By preponderance of evidence is meant na yung evidence adduced by one side as a whole, superior siya dun sa kabila, sa kalaban. Okay? Sa administrative cases naman, si complainant meron siyang onus, meron siyang duty in proving the averments of his complaints by substantial evidence pag admin case. Pointing out circumstances based on mere conjectures and suppositions, hindi yan sufficient to prove accusations. Sa mga illegal case of dismissal, si employer, meron siyang burden of proof to prove na yung termination was for a valid and authorized cause for just and authorized. Na kay employer yung burden of proof niyan. Okay, kapag hindi napatunayan ni employer na yung dismissal ng employee was due to just and authorized cause, then magkakaroon ng judgment of illegal dismissal. Whoever claims entitlement to the benefits provided by law, dapat mag-establish niya yung right niya na meron talaga siyang entitlement doon sa benefits na yon by substantial evidence. Yung claims for disability benefits, for instance, yung onus probandi falls on the claimant to establish his claim for disability benefits. Yung tao na inattack niya yung constitutionality ng isang batas, meron siyang onus probandi to show why the law is repugnant to the Constitution. Ano yung na-violate niya sa Constitution? Failing to overcome yung presumption ng constitutionality, a claim that a law is cruel, unusual, or inhuman must fail. Ang reason for the rule is that yung presumption that the legislature intended to enact a valid, sensible, and just law which operates no further than may be necessary to effectuate the specific purpose ng batas. So, lahat ng batas, therefore, presume yan to be valid and constitutional. So, kung sino yung tao na nag-a-allege na, itong batas na to, let's say, Human Security Act, unconstitutional yan. So, nag-file ka ng petition, let's say, declaratory relief. Okay, so, ikaw yung merong burden of proving na unconstitutional talaga tong batas na to. The court has held in one who denies due execution of a deed, yung where one's signature appears, has the burden of proving that contrary to the recital ng hurat, one never appeared before the notary public and acknowledged the deed to be a voluntary act. Yung burden of proof na yung debt was contracted lies with the creditor plaintiff. So, sino yung nag-assert, siya may burden of proof. Okay? Kung sino yung nag-assert na, hindi, niloko ako niyan. Okay? Kung sino yung nagbintang, hindi kung sino yung nag-deny. Okay? However, jurisprudence tells us that one who pleads payment has the burden of proving it. Okay? Yung burden, nagre-rest yan sa dependent na patunayan niya na bayad na siya. Pag sinabi niya, ba't sinisingil mo ko sa utang, bayad na ako. So, si defendant, yung merong burden of proof na patunayan na nakapagbayad na talaga siya. Okay? So, hindi si plaintiff yung magpapatunay ng non-payment, but si defendant to prove payment. Okay? Sa isang eminent domain case, yung local government that seeks to expropriate private property, meron siyang burden of proving na yung elements for a valid exercise of the right of eminent domain have been complied with. Okay? Sa accident insurance cases, yung insured beneficiary, meron siyang burden of proof in demonstrating na yung cost ng debt is due to the covered peril. Okay? Once that fact is established, the burden then shifts to the insurer to show any expected peril that may have been stipulated by the parties. Yung party na nagkaso for the attachment ng isang property ng adverse party, nasa kanya yung burden to justify yung attachment. Patunayan niya na justified kapag justified na i-grant yung attachment niya, because a general averment will not suffice to support the issuance ng writ of preliminary attachment. So, yung mga requisites ng writ of preliminary attachment dapat patunayan noong nag-pray for the attachment. So, it is necessary to recite in what particular manner an applicant for the writ of attachment was defrauded. It is not enough for the complaint to ritualistically cite that the defendants are guilty of fraud sa pagkocontract ng obligation. So, yung fraud na yan cannot be presumed. Okay? Section 1 ng Rule 131 instructs na lahat ng party must prove his own affirmative allegations. Sa international law, yung party who wants to have a foreign law applied to a dispute or case has the burden of proving that foreign law. Okay? So, yung foreign laws do not prove themselves in our jurisdiction. Okay? Yung court natin, hindi siya authorized to take judicial notice ng mga foreign law. Sa mga actions for declaration ng nullity ng marriage, okay, yung burden of proof na para ipakita yung nullity belongs to the plaintiff. Okay? And any doubt should be resolved in favor of the existence and continuance of the marriage and against its dissolution and nullity. Even yung state natin must prove its affirmative allegations. So, let's say, kinasuhan ka ng gobyerno and inallege nila na itong certain lands na kiniklaim mo na pagmamayari mo, sabi ng state, hindi, sa amin yan. Okay? Sa government yan. Okay? So, si state yung nag-allege ng ganon. It is not so si state din yung magpapatunay na sa kanila talaga yan. It is not excuse yung state from providing evidence to support its allegation. Okay? Ano ba? Just because merong isang tao na nag-execute ng affidavit of retraction does not imply that what has been previously said is false and that the latter is true. So may sinabi ka, let's say negative. Bukas makalawa, niretract mo. Sinabi mo, nire-retract ko na yung una kong sinabi, pinalitan mo ng positive statement. So, it doesn't mean na false yung una mong sinabi. And totoo yung pangalawa. Okay? So, those are the jurisprudential pronouncement natin sa burden of proof. Okay, so we have tests for determining kung nakanino ba yung burden of proof. Meron tayo niyan. So, yung test for determining where the burden of proof lies is to ask which party to an action or suit will fail if hindi siya nag-offer ng evidence competent to show the facts averred as the basis for the relief he seeks to obtain. Okay, sino ba yung matatalo pag hindi nag-present ng evidence? Okay? Sa criminal case, kapag hindi nag-present ng evidence yung prosecution, hindi rin nag-present ng evidence yung defendant, ma-convict ba yung defendant? Hindi. Because, ang burden of proof na kay prosecutor. So, pag hindi siya nag-present ng evidence, he will fail. So, nasa kanya yung burden of proof. Yun ang test natin. Okay? Whether or not, kung sino yung mag-fail, kapag walang pinresent na evidence to show the facts averred as the basis for the relief he seeks to obtain. So, if the defendant, meron siyang affirmative defenses, he bears the burden of proof as to those defenses which he set up sa answer niya to the plaintiff's cause of action. Hence, if si defendant nag-set up siya ng affirmative defense ng prescription, patunayan niya. Okay? Patunayan niya yung date kung kailan nagsimula yung prescription. Okay? Yung burden of proof rests with the party who wants to establish a legal right in his favor. For instance, yung isang tao na nag-a-assert niya ng right niya sa preliminary injunction, nasa kanya yung burden na patunayan na meron talaga siyang right doon sa preliminary injunction. If he claims a right granted by law, he must prove his claim by competent evidence, relying on the strength of his own evidence and not upon the weakness of that of his opponent. Okay? May instances din where burden of proof is fixed. Okay? Take note that burden of proof is fixed yan by the pleadings. Okay? Yung claim ng plaintiff na dapat niyang patunayan is spelled out doon sa complaint niya, sa final niyang complaint. Yung defendant's defenses, which he must likewise prove, makikita naman yan sa answer niya doon sa complaint. Okay? So, again, basic rule, yung mga inallege ni plaintiff sa complaint niya, dapat niya yung patunayan. Siya yung may burden of proof na patunayan yon. Yung mga defenses na ni-raise ng defendant sa answer niya to the complaint, may burden of proof din siya na patunayan yon. Okay? So, yung burden of proof na yan never shifts during the course of the trial. For instance, as previously adduced, yung burden of proof na para i-establish na si defendant may utang siya sa plaintiff. So yung burden of proof to establish that the loan has been paid, na nabayaran na kay defendant yan throughout the litigation. Hindi yan lilipat kay plaintiff. Okay? Burden of evidence next. So doon sa section 1, dinefine din dyan yung burden of evidence. Okay? So, section 1, burden of proof and burden of evidence. When we say burden of evidence, this is the duty of a party to present evidence to sufficient to establish or rebut a fact in issue to establish a prima facie case. Burden of evidence may shift from one party to the other in the course of the proceeding, depending on the exigencies of the case. So, yung burden of evidence, unlike burden of proof, nag-shift yan. When we say burden of evidence, based sa definition na to, ito yung duty ng isang party to go forward with the evidence para i-overthrow yung prima facie evidence against him. Nag-present itong si plaintiff ng evidence. Okay? So, meron siyang evidence na ikaw na may utang ka. Okay? So, ikaw, magpe-present ka ng evidence para i-overthrow yung ebidensya na pinresent niya laban sa'yo. Para patungan, para sapawan. So, as the trial progresses, yung isang party may have presented evidence na weighs heavily sa favor niya and sufficient para ma-convince si court na manalo siya, si plaintiff. If this occurs, ikaw na defendant, meron kang burden na mag-present din ng sarili mong evidence para i-counteract yung positive impression ng evidence ng plaintiff. Okay? Itong duty na to, ang tawag natin dito, burden of coming forward with the evidence. Sa isang case ng illegal possession of firearms, si prosecution, meron siyang burden of proving na itong si accused, wala siyang lisensya to have a firearm. Okay? So, si prosecution, having proved that the accused was not issued a firearm license, yung burden of evidence was shifted to the accused para patunayan na na authorize siya to possess a firearm. O nag-present si prosecution, base dito sa records ng mga registration, wala rito yung pangalan mo. Okay? So, pag ikaw hindi ka nag-present ng evidence para i-counteract yun, matatalo ka. So, you have the burden of coming forward with the evidence to counteract yung evidence na pinresent ng prosecution. Generally, yung burden lies upon the prosecution to prove the guilt of the accused beyond reasonable doubt rather than upon the accused that he was in fact innocent. If si accused, however, inamin niya na siya yung pumatay sa victim pero nag-plead siya ng self-defense, then yung burden is shifted doon sa defendant, sa accused, para patunayan yung defense na sinasabi niya by clear, satisfactory, and convincing evidence that exclude any vestige of criminal aggression on his part. So to escape liability, it now becomes what you call incumbent upon the accused to prove by clear and convincing evidence lahat ng elements ng justifying circumstance na ni-raise niya. Next is what we have what we call the equipoise rule or the equiponderance doctrine. Okay, this is the rule of lenity. When we say equipoise doctrine, ito based to sa principle that no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law as provided sa Section 1, Article 3 of the 1987 Constitution. That is the equipoise doctrine. Itong doctrine na to, nagre-refer to sa isang situation where the evidence of the parties is evenly balanced and there is no doubt on which side the evidence preponderates or saan siya mas mabigat. Okay? In this case, yung decision should be against the party with the burden of proof. Hence, let's say sa isang civil case, kapag yung burden of proof is on the plaintiff and yung evidence does not suggest that the scale of justice should weigh in his favor, then the court should render a verdict for the defendant. Okay? Hindi mabigat yung evidence na na-present ni plaintiff. Nasa kanya yung burden of proof. Tapos hindi mabigat yung evidence na pinresent niya. Dapat, ang judgment doon is matalo si plaintiff at manalo si defendant. Okay? Sa criminal case, yung equipoise rule provides na yung where evidence is evenly balanced, the constitutional presumption of innocence tilts the scales in the favor ng accused. Okay, let's say pantay yung scales ng evidence, pantay yung kay prosecution, pantay din kay defendant. So, paano magde-decide si judge? Then, mananalo si accused. Bakit? Kasi ititilt yun ng constitutional presumption of innocence, to be presumed innocence. Okay? Thus, kapag yung inculpatory facts and circumstances are capable of two or more explanations, one of which is consistent with the innocence ng accused and one of which is consistent with his guilt, then the evidence does not fulfill the test of moral certainty and hindi siya sufficient to support a conviction. In other words, kapag yung evidence admits two interpretation, merong dalawang interpretation yung evidence, yung isang interpretation is consistent with the nagsasabi na guilty itong si accused. Yung isang interpretation is nagsasabi na inosente siya. Ang mananalo yung interpretation ng innocence. Okay, so the accused must be given the benefit of the doubt and maa-acquit siya. Etong equipoise rule na to, however, hindi yan applicable where the evidence presented is not equally weight, hindi pantay. Such as, let's say, yung evidence ni prosecution, sobrang lakas. May overwhelming. Hindi nag-a-apply yung equipoise rule. A rule similar sa equipoise rule but which places emphasis doon sa interpretation of a penal statute rather than on the evidence is yung rule of lenity na tinatawag. Under this rule, kapag si court is faced siya with two possible interpretation sa isang batas, dalawang interpretation, yung isa prejudicial siya sa akusado and yung isa favorable sa kanya. So ang rule natin dyan, ang i-adapt is yung interpretation which is more lenient or favorable doon sa akusado. Next is we have presumptions. So tapos na tayo sa burden of proof and burden of evidence. So ano ba yung concept ng presumption? So yung presumption, ito yung assumption ng isang fact resulting from a rule of law which requires such fact to be assumed from another fact or group of facts found or otherwise established in the action. Okay? So yung presumption, ito yung inference ng isang existence or non-existence of a fact which courts are permitted to draw from proof of other facts. Okay, so sa isang fact, let's say may nangyari, laging merong presumption. Laging meron tayong presumption of innocence, presumption of neglect, okay? Presumption of regularity in the performance of duty. May mga ganon. So yung presumption na yan, hindi yan evidence. They merely affect yung burden of offering the evidence. Okay? Hindi siya evidence na aapektuhan lang yung burden of offering evidence. Let's say presumption of regularity in the performance of official function. So, inaresto ka ng isang pulis. Ang presumption dun is regular yung pagkaka-aresto sa'yo. So, kapag ikaw sinabi mo na illegal po yung pagkaka-aresto sa akin, then you have the burden of offering the evidence to overcome that presumption. Okay, in a sense, yung presumption, ito yung inference which is mandatory unless rebutted. Example, si D, umutang siya kay C ng 1,000,000, let's say. Payable siya 12-month installment. If evidence is introduced na yung installment payment for December has been received by the creditor, a presumption arises that previous installment have been paid. Okay? So, kung kunyari, 12 months, di ba yung bayaran? Monday to December. Nag-present tayo ng evidence na nabayaran na natin yung, let's say, October. Okay? So, ang presumption doon, yung January to September is bayad na rin. Kasi bakit naman tatanggapin yung bayad ng October kung hindi pa bayad yung January hanggang September, di ba? So, kapag ikaw yung creditor, sinabi mo hindi pa bayad yun. So, ikaw yung magpapatunay na hindi. Okay? So, sa case na yon, ang reason dyan is because under the law, yung receipt nung payment ng October without reservation as to prior installments gives rise to the presumption that such installment have been paid. Okay? So, yung inference na yan, na tinatawag natin, magkaiba yan from presumption. When we say inference, this is a factual conclusion that can rationally be drawn from other facts. It is, in other words, one that is a result of a reasoning process. It need not have a legal effect because it is not mandated by law. Yung fact finder is free to accept or reject the inference. Yung presumption naman, on the other hand, rule yan of law directing that if a party proves a certain fact or basis of facts sa isang trial or hearing, yung fact finder must also accept an additional fact as proven unless sufficient evidence is introduced tending to rebut the presumed fact. In a sense, therefore, yung presumption is an inference which is mandatory unless rebutted. Thus, if si X nagpropose siya ng kasal kay Y, it may be inferred that X is in love with Y. Etong inference na to has in fact walang legal effect. Okay? There are no legal relations established by the fact that one is in love. On the other hand, if si X pumasok siya sa isang contract of sale ng isang kotse with Y, then merong presumption na yung contract was entered into with a sufficient cost or consideration. May bayad kasi nga sale yun eh. And although the cost is not stated in the contract, it is presumed that it exists and lawful unless the contrary is proven. The presumption involved in the example has a definite legal effect. Okay, so we have different kinds of presumptions. So presumptions are classified into presumptions of law and presumptions of fact. Okay? So yung presumptions of law are in turn either conclusive or disputable. Okay? Yung presumption that an accused is innocent of the crime charge until the contrary is proven is a presumption of law embodied sa Constitution. Article 1756 ng Civil Code also illustrates another presumption mandated by law. So, under sa provision na yun, in case of death and injuries sa mga passengers ng isang common carrier, let's say bus, then itong common carrier na to are presumed to have been at fault. Okay? Yung driver, ang presumption is kasalanan ng driver and nag-act siya negligently. Yung presumption of fact naman does not arise from any direction of the law. Wala sa batas. It arises because reason itself allows a presumption from the facts. Let's say, si A, inatake niya si B without provocation. Ang logical presumption natin dito na nag-arise is that A does not have tender feelings towards B. A presumption of fact is in effect actually a mere inference because it does not necessarily give rise to a legal effect. Walang legal effect ang presumption of fact. This must be the reason for the trend to discard the distinction between the presumption of facts and presumption of law. So ano yung epekto ng mga presumption na yan? So yung party in whose favor the legal presumption exists may rely on and invoke such legal presumption to establish a fact in issue. One need not introduce evidence to prove the fact, for a presumption is a prima facie proof of the fact presumed. Okay? In civil cases, a presumption imposes on the party against whom it is directed the burden of going forward with evidence to rebut or meet the presumption. Okay? If yung presumptions are inconsistent, the presumption that is founded upon weightier considerations of policy shall apply. If yung considerations of policy are of equal weight, neither presumption applies. It is necessary na i-examine yung basis for each presumption and determine ano yung logical and social basis na nag-e-exist doon sa mga presumption na yan. And then, i-determine which should be regarded as the more important and entitled to prevail of the other. Thus, between the presumption that a young Filipina will not charge a person with rape, kung hindi naman totoo, and the presumption of innocence, the latter should prevail because it is founded upon the first principle of justice. It is not a mere form but a substantial part ng batas natin. Sa criminal case, if yung presumed fact na nag-e-establish ng guilt is an element of the offense charge or negates a defense, then yung existence of the basic fact must be proved beyond reasonable doubt, and presumed fact follows the basic fact beyond the reasonable doubt. Okay, so ano ba yung meaning ng conclusive presumption? So as classified sa Rule 131 ng Rules of Court, yung presumption pwedeng conclusive and disputable. Conclusive is what we call juris et de jure, or disputable presumptions juris tantum. So yung presumption, conclusive siya kapag irrebuttable upon presentation of the evidence. And any evidence tending to rebut the presumption is not admissible. Okay? So conclusive ang presumption, again, kapag irrebuttable. When the presumption becomes irrebuttable upon the presentation of evidence. Thus, ang sabi ng Supreme Court na yung conclusive presumptions are inferences which the law makes so peremptory that it will not allow them to be overturned by any contrary proof, however strong. Conclusive na. Okay? Yung conclusive or irrebuttable presumption is not a presumption at all. It is a substantive rule of law directing the proof of certain basic facts. Conclusively proves an additional fact which cannot be rebutted. Itong presumption na to rests upon the ground of expediency or public policy so compelling in character as to override the requirement of proof. Yung presumption naman is disputable or rebuttable if it may be contradicted or overcome by other evidence. In the language ng Section 3 of Rule 131, yung disputable presumptions are satisfactory if uncontradicted but may be contradicted and overcome by other evidence. So when the evidence that rebuts the presumption is introduced, the force of the presumption disappears. Example, while yung evidence of receipt of payment of a latter installment gives rise sa presumption na yung previous installment have been paid, yet kapag merong evidence na pinakita na yung prior installments hindi pa siya unpaid or unpaid pa siya, then the presumption falls. Okay? So ano yung mga conclusive presumptions under the rules of court? So the following are the conclusive presumptions under Section 2 ng Rule 131 ng Rules of Court as amended. So conclusive presumption, whenever a party by his or her own declaration, act, or omission intentionally or deliberately led another to believe a particular thing is true and to act upon such belief, he or she cannot, in any litigation arising out of such declaration, act, or omission, be permitted to falsify it. Okay? The tenant is not permitted to deny the title of his or her landlord at the time of the commencement of the relation of landlord and tenant between them. So yung conclusive presumptions under the rules of court, based siya sa doctrine of estoppel. Okay? Under this doctrine, yung tao na nagbigay ng representation, hindi niya pwedeng bawiin. Okay? He cannot claim benefit from the wrong he himself committed. Okay? The first conclusive presumption is often referred to as estoppel in pais or estoppel by conduct. Okay? Bale, panindigan mo na yan. Okay? So, kasi ka na, na-stop ka na from falsifying the previous act. So, ano ba yung estoppel? So, under the doctrine of estoppel, yung admission or representation is rendered conclusive upon the person making it and cannot be denied or disproved as against the person relying thereon. Okay, so yung admission, conclusive sa'yo. Conclusive presumption na yan. O, sabi mo, ikaw yung pumatay. O, di ikaw yung pumatay. Yun na yung presumption. You are stopped from retracting that. Example, another. Yung isang persons na nag-assume to be a corporation kahit wala naman silang legal authority, hindi sila registered, wala silang legal basis to act as a corporation, considered sila as corporation by estoppel and liable sila as general partners. Okay, under Article 1431 of the Civil Code, through estoppel, an admission or representation is rendered conclusive upon the person making it and cannot be denied or disproved as against the person relying on it. Where a party by his deed or contract has induced another to act in a particular manner, estoppel effectively bars the former from adopting an inconsistent position, attitude, or course of conduct that causes loss or injury to the latter. Yung doctrine of estoppel based yan upon the grounds of public policy, fair dealing, good faith, and justice. And ang purpose niyan is to forbid one to speak against his own acts, representation, or commitments to the injury of one to whom they were directed or who reasonably relied thereon. Okay? Because dahil sa conclusive presumption na yan under Section 2 ng Rules of Court, This sufficiently shields the lessor from being questioned by the lessee regarding its title or better right of possession as the lessor, because having admitted the existence of a lessor-lessee relationship, the lessee is barred from assailing the lessor's title of better right of possession. As long as the lessor-lessee relationship between the parties exists, the lessee cannot, by any proof however strong, overturn the conclusive presumption that the lessor has a valid title or better right of possession to subject leased premises than it has. Okay? So, ano yung effect ng disputable presumption? The effect of disputable presumption upon the burden of proof is to create the need of presenting evidence para ma-overcome yung prima facie case created by the presumption. If no contrary proof is offered, yung presumption will prevail. So, ano yung mga disputable presumption under the rules of court? So, a significant example ng disputable presumption under the rules is yung presumption ng official duty has been regularly performed. Okay, makikita sa Section 3, Paragraph M, 131 ng Rules of Court. So, every government officer or employee entitled sila sa presumption na maayos nilang ginagawa yung official duty nila. Regular sila sa pagpe-perform ng official duty nila. Hence, let's say, data entry clerk ng government office is presumed to have regularly and faithfully made the required entries of office transactions in a regular manner. Cabinet member authorized na mag-sign ng government contract is likewise presumed to have signed the contract in accordance with existing government laws, rules, and regulations. Okay? So, yung mga disputable yan. Pwede ka mag-present ng evidence para ma-dispute na talunin yung presumption na yan. Okay? So, itong presumption of regularity includes matters related sa court proceedings. Let's say, sa service ng summon. Yung process server is presumed to have served the summon sa regular manner. It is therefore incumbent upon the party na nagka-question ng validity ng service of summon na i-rebut yung presumption na yan with competent and proper evidence. Yung return is prima facie proof of the facts indicated therein. Okay, a later case simplified the rule kung paano i-overturn yung presumption ng regularity in the performance of official duty. Thus, yung presumption na yan pwedeng ma-overturn if yung evidence presented to prove either the two things. Una, that the officers were not properly performing their duty. Pangalawa, that they were inspired by any improper motive. Hence, unless na merong clear and convincing evidence na itong mga police officers were inspired by any improper motive or hindi nila ginawa ng maayos, pinerform ng maayos yung duty nila, their testimonies on the police operations deserve full faith and credit. Okay? Yung presumptions cannot work if the records reveal severe lapses in complying with the requirements provided under the law. For example, yung reliance sa presumption of regularity in the performance of official duties sa part ng mga arresting officer in the prosecution ng mga drug-related offenses is unwarranted if yung records nagpapakita that there is an unjustified non-compliance with the affirmative safeguards prescribed by law para ma-preserve yung chain of custody ng seized drugs. Yung presumption nag-a-apply lang yan kapag walang showing of non-compliance. Okay? Ibig sabihin yan, kapag na-establish na itong mga law enforcement officers, they failed to comply sa mga specific procedures para ma-establish yung chain of custody sa pag-handle and seizure ng drugs, and the prosecution likewise failed to offer a justification for such non-compliance, yung presumption of regularity in the performance of an official duty will not apply. Okay? Judicial reliance on the presumption of regularity sa performance of official duty despite the lapses sa procedure undertaken by the agents of the law, fundamentally flawed yan because yung lapses themselves are affirmative proofs of irregularity. Okay, yung presumption of regularity na yan, paano kung dalawang presumption naglaban? Let's say, yung presumption of regularity versus presumption of innocence. So, yung presumption of regularity cannot overcome the presumption of innocence. Okay? It must also be emphasized na itong presumption of regularity in the performance of official function cannot by itself, take note, by itself, overcome yung presumption of innocence. Evidence of guilt beyond reasonable doubt and nothing else, yan yung required to erase all doubts as to the culpability of the accused. Hence, sa isang case of conflict between the presumption of regularity sa performance of duty of police officers and presumption of innocence of the accused, magpe-prevail yung innocence. Okay? As the law imposes upon the prosecution the highest degree of proof of evidence to sustain conviction. Ang reason naman is obvious. Okay? It would be unconstitutional to place a higher value sa presumption of regularity sa performance ng official duty, isa lamang yang mere tool ng evidence, than in the more substantial presumption of innocence favoring an accused, isang right na enshrined sa Bill of Rights. Okay? Stated another way, yung presumption of regularity in the performance of official duty, hindi yan nagko-constitute ng proof beyond reasonable doubt. It should be noted na yung presumption is precisely, yan lang, presumption lang. Okay? Once na-challenge yung presumption na yan by evidence, it cannot be regarded as binding truth. Hence, yung reliance sa legal presumption of regularity in the performance of official duty, inadequate yan to uphold a conviction. After all, the burden of proving the guilt of the accused rests on the prosecution, which must rely on the strength of its own evidence and not on the weakness of the defense. Okay, because regularity sa performance of duty hindi yan sufficient for conviction. The court, in the subsequent pronouncement, had the occasion to caution trial courts from judicially pronouncing an accused as guilty just because he could not impute any ill motive to arresting officers in arresting him and from presuming the regularity of the arrest on that basis alone. Okay, next, presumption of regularity in a petition for writ of amparo. So, yung presumption of regularity does not apply sa petition for writ of amparo. Okay, under section 17 ng rule ng writ of amparo, the responding public official or employee cannot invoke the presumption that official duty has been regularly performed to evade responsibility or liability. Okay, presumption of regularity sa custodial investigation. So, yung presumption of regularity of official acts does not apply during in custody investigation. Hindi siya nag-a-apply dyan. It is incumbent upon the prosecution na patunayan during the trial that prior to questioning, the confessant, yung nag-confess, was warned of his constitutionality protected rights. Kailangan sila yung magpapatunay na sinabi mo sa kanila yung rights nila under custodial investigation. Trial courts should further keep in mind that even if the confession of the accused is gospel truth, if it was made without the assistance ng counsel, it is inadmissible in evidence regardless of the absence of coercion or even it had been voluntarily given. So ano yung mga examples of disputable presumptions? So some significant disputable presumptions under Section 3 of Rule 131 are, una, that a person is innocent of a crime or wrong. Pangalawa, that an unlawful act was done with unlawful intent. Pangatlo, that a person intends the ordinary consequence of his or her voluntary act. Pag may ginawa ka, ang presumption, intention mo na gawin yon. Or, alam mo kung ano yung consequence nun. Okay? Yung pangalawa, that an unlawful act was done with unlawful intent. Okay, yung intent presume yan. Pag nakapatay ka ng tao, ang presumption, intention mo na patayin siya. Okay? Pang-apat, that a person takes ordinary care of his or her business. Yan yung presumption of performance of a diligence and good father of a family. Okay? Panlima, that the evidence willfully suppressed would be adverse if produced. So may presumption na ganyan, na isusuppress mo yung evidence kapag laban sa'yo. That money paid by one to another was due to the latter. Kapag may nagbayad sa akin, ang presumption is talagang para sa akin yun. that a thing delivered to one to another belong to the latter. Kapag may binigay na bagay sa akin, ang presumption sa akin yung bagay na yon, kaya binigay sa akin. Okay? That an obligation delivered up to the debtor has been paid. That prior rents or installment had been paid when receipt for the latter ones is produced. Yung example ko kanina, naglabas ng payment for October. Ang presumption is yung September, bayad na yun. That a person acting in a public office was regularly appointed or elected to it. Pag in-appoint mo isang tao sa posisyon, ang presumption, qualified. That official duty has been regularly performed. Okay? Na-discuss na natin yan. That a court or judge acting as such, whether in the Philippines or elsewhere, was acting in the lawful exercise of his jurisdiction. Presumption of jurisdiction. Okay? So, lahat ng mga disputable presumptions yan makikita natin sa Section 3, Rule 131. Like mga private transactions, ang presumption dyan is fair and regular. Yung ordinary course ng business has been followed. There was sufficient consideration for a contract. Yung negotiable instrument was given or endorsed for sufficient consideration. Yung writing is truly dated. Okay? And marami pa. So, isa sa mga significant presumption na yan, which is, at the same time, isa siyang constitutional right, is yung una, is the right to be presumed innocence of a crime or wrong. Okay? So, yung constitutional presumption of innocence na yan, enjoyed yan by the accused until final conviction. In his regard, the prosecution's case must rise and fall on its own merits and cannot draw its strength from the weakness of the defense. Okay? Yung evidence of the prosecution must stand on its own strength and not rely on the weakness of the defense. Yung presumption na yung evidence when willfully suppressed would be adverse if produced does not apply if una, evidence is at the disposal of both parties. Pangalawa, the suppression was not willful. Pangatlo, it is merely corroborative or cumulative. And pang-apat, yung suppression is covered by the privilege of communication between physician and patient. Okay? Generally, yung notarized documents carries the evidentiary weight conferred upon it with respect to its due execution. And yung documents acknowledged before a notary public having in their favor the presumption of regularity, which may be only rebutted by clear and convincing evidence. Okay? Next, settled rule natin is that sa absence ng satisfactory explanation, kapag yung isang tao nahulian siya sa possession niya, tapos gumamit siya ng forged document, ang presumption natin, siya yung forger. Okay? And therefore, guilty siya ng falsification. If a person had in his possession a falsified document and he made use of it, taking advantage of it, and kumita siya ng dahil doon, ang clear presumption is that he is the material author ng falsification na yan. Okay, the presumption that whoever possesses or yung gumamit ng peking document, ang presumption siya yung forger, nag-a-apply lang yan in the absence ng satisfactory explanation. Hence, kung meron satisfactory explanation naman, would render the presumption ineffective. Yung judgment or final order against a person rendered by a tribunal or a foreign country with jurisdiction to render said judgment or final order is presumptive evidence of a right as between the parties and their successors in interest. If yung judgment or final order is upon a specific thing, then yung judgment or final order, conclusive yan doon sa title to the thing. Okay? Yung presumptions are not, however, irrefutable. In either case, the judgment or final order, pwedeng ma-repel yan by any of the following. Okay? Una, want of jurisdiction. Pangalawa, want of notice to the party. Pangatlo, collusion. Pang-apat, fraud or clear mistake of law or facts. Okay? While yung judgment or final order na yan, rendered by a Philippine court, among others, with respect doon sa probate of will or the administration of the estate of the deceased person, is conclusive upon the will or administration. Yung probate of a will or granting letters of administration shall only be a prima facie evidence to the death of the testator. Okay? Next, yung mga person mentioned sa Article 2180 ng Civil Code like mga employers, owners, managers ng isang establishment, among others, liable sila sa acts ng mga empleyado nila, mga person for whom they are responsible. Under the same provision, yung responsibility na yan, magsisis lang yan when the persons mentioned prove na they have observed all the diligence of a good father of the family to prevent damage. Kung wala naman neglect sa part nila, kailangan muna nilang patunayan. This indicates that there is a presumption na sa employers and yung mga manager, mga binanggit ko kanina, may presumption na they are negligent in case those under them have caused damage to another. Okay? Whenever an employee's negligence causes damage or injury to another, there instantly arises a presumption of juris tantum that the employer failed to exercise diligentissimi partis familias in the selection or supervision ng kanilang employees. It is disputably presumed na itong driver was negligent if he had been found guilty of reckless driving or violating traffic regulations at least twice within the next preceding months, 2 preceding months. Next, merong prima facie presumption of negligence sa part ng defendant kapag merong pagkamatay or injury na naging resulta dahil sa possession niya ng dangerous weapons or drugs. Okay? Or substances such as poison. Except na lang kapag yung possession na yan or use ng possession ng substance is indispensable sa kanyang occupation or business. In some cases, merong negligence is difficult to prove. Yung doctrine ng res ipsa loquitur permits an inference of negligence sa part ng defendant where the thing or transaction speaks for itself. Okay? Yung doctrine na to, yung res ipsa loquitur, nag-e-establish yan ng presumption of negligence against the defendant and furnishes a substitute for a specific proof of negligence. Okay? Yung doctrine can be invoked only when under the circumstance merong direct evidence, absent yung direct evidence and not readily available. So para mag-apply yung doctrine na yan, merong mga requisites. Okay? Una, yung accident is of a kind which ordinarily does not occur in the absence of someone's negligence. Hindi mangyayari yan kung hindi ka neglectful. Yang aksidente na yan. Pangalawa, caused yan by an instrumentality within the exclusive control ng defendant and or defendants. Pangatlo, yung possibility of contributing conduct which would make the plaintiff responsible is eliminated. So, yan yung mga requisites in order for the doctrine of res ipsa loquitur to apply. The legal presumption is that a person takes ordinary care of his concerns. To this, case law dictates na yung natural presumption is one does not sign a document without first informing himself ng contents and consequences. So, kapag pumirma ka ng kontrata, ang presumption, binasa mo yun. Okay? So, kailangan mo mag-present ng evidence to dispute that presumption. Ang presumption that a person found in possession ng mga personal effects belonging sa isang tao na nanakawan at namatay. Kapag nakita sa iyo yung bagay na yan, ang presumption is you are the author of the aggression. Okay? Yung pagkamatay ng tao and yung robbery committed applies where such possession is unexplained or when the preferred explanation is inconsistent with the evidence. Okay, next to be discussed is quantum of evidence or the weight and sufficiency of evidence. Now, kanina pa ako sabi ng proof beyond reasonable doubt, clear and convincing evidence, preponderance of evidence. Okay, so ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng mga yan? Okay, that is what we call quantum of evidences. Parang level yan of evidences kung gaano kabigat yung evidences. Okay, gaano ka-sufficient yung evidence. Kay level by level yan. So, unahin natin sa pinakamataas, which is proof beyond the reasonable doubt. So, sa criminal cases, yung burden of proof as to the guilt ng accused lies sa prosecution because of the presumption na itong si accused is presumed innocent until contrary is proven. Okay? Section 14, paragraph 2 ng Article 3 ng Constitution natin. Jurisprudence reiterates itong rule na to by declaring na sa lahat ng criminal prosecution, si state dapat niyang patunayan beyond reasonable doubt lahat ng element ng crime na chinarge mo dun sa accused and yung complicity or participation na accused. Okay? Yan yung dapat patunayan na state na may nangyaring crime at si akusado yung gumawa. Jurisprudence clearly instructs requiring proof beyond reasonable doubt necessarily means na yung mere suspicion ng guilt of the accused, kahit pa gaano kalakas yung suspicion na yan, gaano kabigat, gaano ka-persuasive, should not sway the judgment against him. It further means that the court should duly consider every evidence favoring him and that, in the process, the court should persistently insist that accusation is not synonymous with guilt. Every circumstances favoring yung innocence ng accused should be fully taken into account. Okay? Yung proof beyond reasonable doubt does not mean such degree of proof excluding possibility of error. It is the degree of proof after investigation of the whole record produces moral certainty in an unprejudiced mind of the accused's culpability. In other words, yung conscience must be satisfied that the accused is responsible for the offense charge. Okay? Reasonable doubt does not refer to any doubt or mere possible doubt because everything in human experience is subject sa possible doubt. Rather, it is the state of the case which, after comparison ng lahat ng evidence, does not lead the judge to have in his mind a moral certainty of the truth of the charge. Kapag merong reasonable doubt as to the guilt of the accused, there must be acquittal. Section 2 ng Rule 133 provides na yung quantum of evidence required in a criminal case as follows. Okay? Nakalagay dyan, Section 2, proof beyond reasonable doubt. So, isang criminal case, the accused is entitled to an acquittal unless his or her guilt is shown beyond reasonable doubt. Proof beyond reasonable doubt does not mean such degree of proof, excluding possibility of error, produces absolute certainty. Moral certainty only is required, or that degree of proof which produces conviction in an unprejudiced mind. The presumption of innocence ng accused sa isang criminal case, yan isang basic constitutional principle fleshed out by procedural rules which place on the prosecution yung burden of proving na si accused is guilty of the offense charged by proof beyond reasonable doubt. Corollary thereto, yung evidence of the prosecution must stand on its own strength and hindi dapat mag-rely sa weakness ng evidence of the defense. Okay? Stated in another way, yung conviction ng akusado must rest hindi sa weakness ng defense niya but sa strength ng prosecution. The argument therefore that the accused deserves to be convicted because dahil lang hindi niya napatunayan na inosente siya, mali yun. Okay? The overriding consideration sa criminal case is not whether the court doubts yung innocence ng accused, but whether it entertains a reasonable doubt sa guilt niya. Kapag merong reasonable doubt sa guilt ng akusado, he must be acquitted even though yung innocence niya may be doubted, since the constitutional right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty can only be overthrown by proof beyond reasonable doubt. Okay, because an accused, pwede siyang makonvict only when his guilt is proven beyond reasonable doubt. Yung court, yung appellate court to be exact, mandated yan to sift the records and search for every error. Though unassigned sa appeal in order to ensure that yung conviction is warranted and to correct every error that the lower court has committed in finding guilt of the accused. Okay? Next level is the preponderance of evidence. Next level to be discussed. Section 1, Rule 133. Preponderance of evidence. Paano dinedetermine? So, sa civil cases, the party having the burden of proof must establish his or her case by a preponderance of evidence. Civil case to. Okay? Ito yung ginagamit sa civil case. In determining where the preponderance or superior weight of evidence on the issue involved lies, the court may consider all the facts and circumstances of the case. The witness's manner of testifying, intelligence nila, means and opportunity of knowing the facts to which they are testifying, yung nature of the facts to which they testify, probability or improbability ng testimony nila, interest or want of interest, and also yung personal credibility nila, so far as the same may legitimately appear upon the trial. The court may also consider the number of witnesses, though the preponderance is not necessary with the greater number. Okay, kung dun sa proof beyond reasonable doubt, si akusado, si accused, wala siyang kailangang gawin. May wala sa kanya yung burden of proof. Sa civil cases, yung party having the burden of proof, dapat i-establish niya by case of preponderance evidence. Okay? Yung preponderance of evidence na yan, ito yung weight, yung credit, and yung value ng aggregate evidence sa side nila. Okay? And usually considered to be synonymous with the term greater weight. Parang pabigatan na lang kayo ng ebidensya. Okay? Preponderance of evidence is a phrase which, in the last analysis, means probability of truth. Okay? Probability na totoo yung sinasabi. It is evidence which is more convincing to the court as worthier of belief than which is offered in opposition thereto. Ibig sabihin lang, mas mabigat yung ebidensya mo, okay, kaysa dun sa ebidensya ng kalaban. So, in determining whether or not merong preponderance of evidence, nakalagay din dito sa section 1 yung mga pwedeng i-consider ng court. Okay, nakalagay naman dyan lahat ng facts and circumstances ng kaso. Okay, yung mga events, mga pangyayari na related dun sa kaso. Yung mga manner ng witness, paano sila nag-testify, mamaya balisayan, intelligence nila, okay, syempre taon nila, determinative ng intelligence, or mamaya unsound mind bala yan. Yung means nila and opportunity, paano nila nalaman yung mga facts na tinetestify nila. Okay? Yung nature nung mga sinasabi nila, yung probability and improbability ng testimony nila. Okay? Nakita ko po siya, hinawakan niya lang yung lampara, may lumabas na genie. Improbable yun. The witness interest or want of interest and also their personal credibility. Itong tao na to, na-convict na yan ng perjury. Bakit pa natin paniniwalaan yan, di ba? So, walang personal credibility. So, as far the same may ultimately appear doon sa trial. And number of witnesses. Kunyar, 4 sila nagsasabi, pare-pares yung kwento. Okay? Although it doesn't mean na mas marami, mas maganda. Hindi ganon. Okay? Next weight is substantial evidence. So, impertinent rule natin, makikita natin sa section 6. Rule 133 pa rin. Substantial evidence in cases filed before administrative or quasi-judicial bodies A fact may be deemed established if it is supported by substantial evidence or that amount of relevant evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as adequate to justify a conclusion. Okay? So kung sa civil case preponderance, sa criminal case proof beyond reasonable doubt, sa mga administrative and quasi-judicial bodies cases, substantial evidence lang yung hinahanap. So yung substantial evidence nagre-refer yan sa mga relevant evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as adequate para makapag-conclude siya. Okay? It is more than a mere imputation of wrongdoing or violation that would warrant a finding of liability against the person charged. So sa administrative cases, yung quantum of evidence required is that of substantial evidence. It does not require evidence that is overwhelming or preponderant or beyond reasonable doubt. Hindi kailangan nun. Substantial lang. Further, yung complainant, nasa kanya yung burden of proving by substantial evidence yung mga allegations doon sa complaint niya. Ang basic rule natin, again, is allegation is not evidence and hindi siya equivalent sa proof. Bintang lang yun eh. Okay? Likewise, charges based on mere suspicion and speculation cannot be given credence. Okay? Sa administrative or quasi-judicial proceedings like mga kinakandak sa NLRC, mga labor cases, ang standard proof is substantial evidence which is understood to be more than that just a scintilla or such amount of relevant evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as adequate to justify a conclusion. Sa mga labor cases na yan, as in other administrative or quasi-judicial proceedings, ang quantum of proof necessary lang is substantial evidence. Okay? In claims for workmen's compensation, for example, kulang yung sahod sa'yo, nag-file ka ng complaint, yung degree of proof required is merely substantial evidence. Ibig sabihin, sapat na yung claim be based on mere probability, not certainty of causal relations. However, kay employee yung burden to present substantial evidence na hindi talaga siya nabayaran. Okay? Or such relevant evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as adequate to justify a conclusion, showing a reasonable connection between the conditions of his work and illness, or that the risk of contracting the same was increased by his working conditions. Sa mga agrarian cases, substantial evidence lang rin ang kailangan. Okay? Next, the court has used different standards sa disbarment proceedings. In one case, sabi ng court, yung disbarment proceedings, the burden of proof rests on the complainant to establish the respondent attorney's liability by clear, convincing, and satisfactory evidence. Sa ibang case naman, sabi ng court, administrative case against lawyer, the quantum of proof required is preponderance of evidence which the complainant has the burden to discharge. Another decision ng Supreme Court, paiba-iba, ruled that this court had the occasion to clarify na ang proper evidentiary threshold sa mga disbarment cases is substantial evidence lang. Okay? The court once again stressed that its pronouncement sa Reyes versus Nieva ought to control and quell any further confusion on the proper evidentiary threshold. It recognized na yung evidentiary threshold of substantial evidence as opposed to preponderance evidence is more in keeping with the primordial purpose of an essential consideration attending disciplinary cases. Next, ano yung mga quantum of evidence sa isang petition for a writ of amparo? So in a petition for a writ of amparo, the parties shall establish their claims by substantial evidence. Okay? Ano yung effect ng decision? Let's say, police officer ka, nakasuhan ka ng criminal charge, tapos meron ka ring admin charge. Okay? So, inuna yung admin charge. So, kung naging guilty ka sa admin charge, anong mangyayari sa criminal mo? And kung naging guilty sa criminal, anong mangyayari sa admin? Okay? So, sa Paredes versus Court of Appeals, the accused argued na yung liability niya sa administrative case against him was not established by substantial evidence. So, will his criminal case magfo-fall ba? Demanding as it does a heavier quantum of proof. Kasi, proof beyond reasonable doubt yung kailangan sa criminal. So, sabi ng court, hindi. It is indeed fundamental principle na yung administrative case, independent yan from criminal actions for the same act or omission. Thus, yung absolution sa criminal charge, hindi yan bar sa administrative prosecution. Okay? Pwede ka pa rin maging guilty sa admin kahit na-acquit ka sa criminal and vice versa. One thing is administrative liability. Tapos yung another naman is criminal liability for the same act. Magkaiba yun. Okay? Criminal and administrative proceedings may involve similar operative facts but each requires a different quantum of evidence. Thus, considering yung difference sa quantum of evidence as well as the procedure followed and the sanction imposed sa isang criminal and administrative proceedings, yung findings and conclusions in one should not necessarily be binding on the other. Notably, yung evidence presented sa isang administrative case may not necessarily be the same evidence to be presented in the criminal case. The prosecution is certainly not precluded from adducing additional evidence to discharge the burden of proof required sa isang criminal case. In criminal cases, the accused bears the burden to prove by clear, satisfactory, and convincing evidence the justifying circumstances that would avoid his criminal liability. Okay? Diba? Prosecution. Kailangan niyang patunayan yung guilt ng accused beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? Sabi ni akusado, opo, ako po yung pumatay sa kanya, pero self-defense po. So, ano yung quantum of evidence na kailangan para mapatunayan ko yung self-defense na yon? The answer is this: clear and convincing evidence. Okay? Sa case ng Tanke versus Development Bank of the Philippines, the court ruled that kapag inallege mo yung fraud sa isang ordinary civil case involving contractual relations, an entirely different standard of proof needs to be satisfied. The imputation ng fraud sa civil case requires the presentation ng clear and convincing evidence. Kasi fraud, hindi naman yan presumed, diba? So, para mapatunayan mo na may fraud talaga, mag-present ka ng evidence that will satisfy clear and convincing quantum of proof. Mere allegations will not suffice to stain the existence ng fraud. Sa case ng Tan Andal versus Andal, the court held na yung cases for declaration ng nullity of marriage, si plaintiff's spouse, kailangan niyang patunayan na yung case niya, with clear and convincing evidence. Itong quantum of proof na to, that requires more than preponderant evidence but less than proof beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? Lastly, let's discuss evidentiary weight ng electronic evidence. Okay? Since nauso na yung mga chat-chat, cellphone. So, ano ba yung evidentiary weight ng mga yan? Kapag tinanggap pag admissible. So, in assessing the evidentiary weight of electronic evidence, certain factors may be considered. Like, una, reliability of the manner in which it was generated, stored, or communicated. Pangalawa, the reliability of the manner in which its originator was identified. Pangatlo, yung integrity ng information and communication system. Pang-apat, yung familiarity of the witness or the person who made the entry with the communication and information system. Panlima, the nature and quality of the information which went into the communication and information system and other factors which the court may consider. So, lahat ng matter relating sa admissibility and evidentiary weight ng mga electronic document, pwedeng ma-establish yan by an affidavit stating facts of direct personal knowledge ng affiant or based on authentic records. Etong affidavit na to must affirmatively show yung competence of the affiant to testify on the matters contained therein. Okay? The affiant shall be made to affirm the contents of the affidavit in open court and may be cross-examined as a matter of right by the adverse party. Okay? So that is burden of proof, quantum of evidence, and presumptions.